Shamrock Series, Notre Dame's home game away from home, is a marquee event and has featured shining performances from Notre Dame stars. Jimmy Clausen and Golden Tate led the Irish in San Antonio in 2009. Tyler Eifert made himself at home in the home of the Yankees in 2010, and Tommy Rees delivered a victory at FedEx Field in Maryland in 2011. Last year, Sierra Wood and George Atkinson led the charge in Soldier Field, Chicago. This year, the Irish and their faithful roll into North Texas. It's Irish with a Texas twang as Notre Dame looks to wrangle some Sun Devils right here in the home of the Cowboys. Just outside AT&T Stadium on a surprisingly South Bend-like day, the Irish faithful are settling into their pregame preparations. Good evening, Irish fans, and welcome to the Shamrock Series Notre Dame pregame show, live from the beautiful new home of the Dallas Cowboys here in North Texas. I'm Jack Nolan, joined by Irish All-American running back Reggie Brooks, who played in the old Cowboy Stadium, but never in this one that just opened 2 years ago. What do you think of this palace?
This is very impressive. I mean, I guess this is what you get for $1 billion.
They did a great job with this. Now, we want you to take part in our show as well. Just tweet out your thoughts on tonight's game with the hashtag ShamrockTexas and share your Dallas experience by sending us Instagram pictures or wherever you've spent some time this week in North Texas. Now, we will display some of your comments on our show, including on the video boards here in the parking lots and on one of the largest HD video displays in the world behind us here in the stadium. Now, there are a bunch of connections between the great state of Texas and the Notre Dame football team. For example, there are 8 Texas natives on this year's Notre Dame team. Sophomore running back Cam McDaniel from nearby Capel has earned the respect of his teammates and coaches with his knack for making plays. Freshman wide receiver Corey Robinson from San Antonio is already having a major impact on the team in his first year with the Irish. Freshman Durham Smythe from Belton is working hard to continue the long and current tradition of outstanding tight end play at Notre Dame. Junior cornerback Jalen Brown from nearby Irving continues to work hard to earn more playing time in the secondary and on special teams. The coaching staff has high hopes for safety Nicky Barati from Tomball, who was battling for a starting spot before being sidelined by a shoulder injury in fall camp. There are also a couple of Hunters on this team. Freshman Torrey Hunter Jr. from Prosper is one of the top receivers in this year's recruiting class and is continuing to come back from a broken leg suffered in the offseason, while fellow freshman Omar Hunter from Harlingen walked onto the squad this season after a successful high school football career, during which he also spent 4 years as class president. Grad student and kicker Nick Tausch from Plano, Texas, broke the school record with 14 consecutive made field goals as a freshman in 2009. There are also plenty of former Irish players who call Texas home. The great Rocket Ismail has been living in Dallas since ending his NFL career with the Cowboys in 2001. Allen Rossum is a Dallas native who also happened to end his stellar NFL career with his hometown Cowboys. Hunter the Punter Smith is a native of Sherman, Texas. Former Irish linebacker and captain Derek Curry was born in Houston and started Sealy High School in Sealy, Texas. Former Irish cornerback Mike Haywood was also born in Houston, and former Irish quarterback Carlisle Holiday is a native of San Antonio. Now, I know what you're thinking, Irish fans. They forgot the most famous son of Texas to play football at Notre Dame. No, we didn't.
Brown at the 30-yard line, cuts to the right, looking for a block. Tries to cut to the outside, cuts inside, 35, he gets the 40, he gets the 45, 50, down the sideline at the 40, he's at the 30, one man to beat, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Irish! Timmy Brown, 70 yards. High spiral, Drifting back Brown. Brown to the 34, to the 35. Cuts up field, gets to the 40, 45. He is the 50, down to the 40, 35, 30. One man to beat, down to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown again. Timmy Brown.
Tim Brown's been all over North Texas. He, of course, lives in Dallas, Reggie. And when you were being recruited, Tim Brown was really the reigning star at Notre Dame. What impact did he have on your decision to come?
I still remember talking to Tim when they had just got my brother to sign on at Notre Dame as a freshman, and we were coming up for a game. And I still remember Timmy taking the time out, from a fairly busy schedule that he had to kind of talk to me and my parents. And he was so cordial, so accommodating, and just all-around nice guy. And like I said, being from Oklahoma, you don't tend to think a Texan would be that nice, but he was very impactful on me just in his presence and how he carried himself and, his demeanor and just the kindness he showed someone that was really not someone that he knew.
They have just opened the doors here at AT&T Stadium. Arizona State fans are coming in, and so are fans of the Fighting Irish. And we do hope to have Tim Brown up here on our stage live before our show is over. Now, North Texas has been very good to the Irish football team over the years. When we come back, we'll take a look at Notre Dame's long and storied history in the Cotton Bowl with the help of someone who knows it very well.
We all assume that the medicine we take will make us better. This is such a fundamental expectation that it's easy to take it for granted. But here in Kenya, so many patients that I see have purchased substandard or counterfeit medicine. And for many, the consequences have been life-threatening.
Each year, counterfeit and substandard medicines kill over 300,000 people worldwide. At the University of Notre Dame, Professor Mario Lieberman is partnering with St. Mary's College to combat the problem using high-tech paper test cards.
In most countries, healthcare providers lack the financial and technical resources to properly test drugs. The technology we've developed has the power to overcome these obstacles. It puts the capability to detect fake drugs in the hands of doctors, pharmacists, and even consumers.
For just pennies a test, this technology uses colorimetric chemistry to measure the presence of specific ingredients. By simply swiping a pill across the card, distinctive color codes reveal within minutes whether a drug is genuine.
Professor Lieberman's work is so amazing because it creates a way to ensure that patients like mine get the real medicine they so desperately need.
Seeing the difference we're making here in Kenya is incredibly inspiring, and we're excited to empower people everywhere who are victimized by this injustice.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to protect the sick. We are the Fighting Irish.
Administrations and NFL, they love Notre Dame players because they know that you have been taught to do things the right way. I mean, it's pretty simple. So I would just say to you, don't look at the here and now. Look at what you're going to be doing after your football career. God bless you, you ever played 10, 12 years in the NFL. What are you going to do after that? That's the most important thing. There's no other university in the country, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm associated with all of them through my friends. that will do more for you and for the rest of your life than the University of Notre Dame.
In 1925, Notre Dame played in its first bowl game, the Rose Bowl, against Stanford. Newt Rockne and the famed Four Horsemen beat Coach Pop Warner and Ernie Nevers to finish the 1924 season with a perfect 10-0 record, earning Notre Dame's first ever national championship. The Irish did not play in another bowl game for 45 years. In 1969, Notre Dame ended its self-imposed bowl ban and ended up taking on #1 Texas in the Cotton Bowl, beginning a long and storied connection between the Fighting Irish and North Texas. Longhorns entered the game with a perfect 10-0 record and the #1 ranking in both the AP and UPI polls. The Irish brought an 8-1-1 record to Dallas that earned them the #8 AP ranking. Notre Dame proved to be a tough matchup for top-ranked Texas, shocking the Longhorns by jumping out to a 10-0 second quarter lead on this 54-yard pass from Joe Theismann to Tom Gatewood. Theismann went on to set then Cotton Bowl records with 231 passing yards and 279 yards of total offense, but Texas and its vaunted wishbone attack came back to win 21-7 and earn the national title, while the Irish moved up to 5th in the final AP poll. The two teams met again in the 1971 Cotton Bowl. Texas was again #1 in both major polls and took a 30-game winning streak into the contest, while the Irish were 9-1 and ranked 5th in the final UPI poll taken before the bowl games and 6th in the pre-bowl AP poll. Irish Hall of Fame coach Ara Parseghian spent a lot of time thinking about how to stop the wishbone offense in the year since his teams lost to Texas in the 1970 Cotton Bowl. On this New Year's Day, Parseghian unveiled a mirror defense that forced the Longhorns to fumble 9 times and held the previously unstoppable Texas wishbone to just 216 rushing yards, 158 yards below their season average.
The mirror defense, what we wound up having everybody within 4 or 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and reacting to the action of the backfield. And so what we tried to do is to reverse the philosophy of 11 playing against 10. We tried to reverse it and make our 11 playing against their 10 by bringing our cornerbacks and strong down from the outside to force their hand as quick as we could so they couldn't do the option as well as they'd want to.
Notre Dame returned to the Cotton Bowl in 1978 to face another undefeated and top-ranked Texas squad, the only remaining undefeated team at this point in the 1977 season. The Irish were 10-1 but had won 10 in a row and came into the game ranked 5th in both the AP and UPI polls. Notre Dame excelled on both sides of the ball in this contest to snatch the national championship away from the Longhorns. Linebacker Bob Golick made 17 tackles and blocked a field goal attempt to earn Defensive Player of the Game honors, and the Irish held Heisman Trophy winner Earl Campbell to just 116 hard-earned yards on 19 carries. Notre Dame's Joe Montana-led offense jumped out to a 24-3 lead just 22 and a half minutes into the game. Jerome Heavens rushed for an even 100 yards, and backfield mate Vegas Ferguson added 101 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ferguson's performance earned him the game's Most Outstanding Player award, and the 38-10 upset victory earned the Irish their 10th consensus national championship.
Happy New Year and welcome to Dallas, Texas in the 1979 Cotton Bowl game.
The following year, the Irish again returned to the Cotton Bowl, but this time their opponent was not the Texas Longhorns, but another team from Texas, the Houston Cougars. The national title was not on the line, but history was still made, with the Irish pulling off what many still believe is the greatest comeback in the annals of Notre Dame football.
Montana going, and it's a touchdown. A touchdown taken at the corner.
The weather was awful, a frigid 20 degrees at kickoff with a wind chill of -6 degrees. It was so cold, Notre Dame quarterback Joe Montana missed most of the third quarter because his body temperature was below normal, a condition that was alleviated in part by a little hot chicken soup.
Joe Montana did not come out for the second half. The team physician has just told me he has the chills. His body temperature is below normal. They're giving him warm fluids, and he may be back before the end of the game. He said it's kind of like the start of the flu.
In the final 4 minutes and 22 seconds, Montana led the Irish to 17 points to give Notre Dame a 35-34 victory in what has since been known to Irish fans as the Chicken Soup game. Fittingly, Montana was named the game's most valuable player.
Montana's rolling. He's going to try to take it in, and he's got it. Touchdown, Montana. Joe Eunice into attempt. It's up, and it's good. Joe Eunice from Dallas, Texas, kicked the extra point, and the game is over.
Notre Dame has made 3 other appearances in the Cotton Bowl, playing Texas A&M in all 3 contests. In the 1988 Cotton Bowl, the Irish jumped out to a 10-3 lead in part due to a 17-yard touchdown catch by Dallas native and Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown, but the Aggies roared back to record a 35-10 win. The Irish got another shot at the Aggies in the 1993 Cotton Bowl. Texas A&M came into the game undefeated at 12-0, earning them the number 3 slot in the coaches poll and the number 4 ranking in the AP poll. The Irish came in ranked 5th in both polls with a 9-1-1 mark. The only score in the first half was this 40-yard touchdown from Rick Meyer to Lake Dawson with 36 seconds left in the second quarter. Meyer also rushed for 55 yards on 13 carries in the game. The Irish broke the game open in the second half and trounced A&M 28-3.
Fake to Brooks. Meyer lobs it for Bettis. Touchdown!
The 2 teams met again the following year in the 1994 Cotton Bowl. The Irish came in ranked 4th in the nation with a 10-1 mark. A&M also came in 10-1 and was ranked 6th in the coaches poll and 7th by AP. This contest was a close affair that saw the game tied at 21 late in the game.
You live by the foot, you die by the foot. And it is up. It is good.
When Kevin Pendergast kicked a 31-yard field goal to give Notre Dame a 24-21 win. 7 Cotton Bowls, 5 wins. The Cotton Bowl has been very good to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame has been very good for the Cotton Bowl. And joining us now live on our Shamrock Series pregame show set is the president and CEO of the Cotton Bowl, Rick Baker. And Rick, what impact has Notre Dame had on the Cotton Bowl over the years?
Well, Jack, first, thank you for having me. It's quite an honor. But the Notre Dame and the Cotton Bowl have had a very special relationship over the years, as you well know. They are a big part of our history, the Fighting Irish. Really, most of our most memorable games, our significant games, were played with the Fighting Irish, and especially the Texas games in the 70s. You know, we have always been very proud to really be just a small part of the great history of Notre Dame football.
And I know my partner here, Reggie Brooks, has a very soft spot in his heart for the Cotton Bowl. Rushed for over 120 yards in that game back in 1993. You didn't see him in the highlights because your buddy the Bus took all the glory, scoring all the touchdowns.
Well, that was the kind of the thing we had going, and it kind of carried over in the NFL. Like I said, if I didn't score outside the 20, I wasn't getting the ball. It always got turned over to him to get those tough yards up the middle, because we go to that wishbone offense, and you knew it was coming to the Bus. So I tried to make do with what I had and score from long distance.
It was a little cold that day too, wasn't it?
It was quite cold. It was very shocking. I will say this. Like I said, one of the more fun bowl games I was a part of, and I know, like I said, it's been great to see that the Cotton Bowl has kind of gotten back into the mix with the new bowl system coming up. You know, kind of what are your thoughts about, you know, how that's going to play for the Cotton Bowl going forward?
Well, Reggie, we're really proud to really be the very first site of the first national championship in the playoff era. The very first playoff with a bracket attached to it. To have it played here at AT&T Stadium is really an honor and a blessing. You know, we were blessed for 55 years, from 1941 to 1995, to have the Southwest Conference champion play in our game. And, of course, that went away, and it became part of the Big 12 and other things. So we've really been fighting for 20 years to get back to really hosting the most relevant, significant games in the postseason. And we're very honored to be part of the college football playoff.
And certainly we do need to expand on that because it's not just hosting the first national championship game, which is a huge honor, but you're now part of the new playoff. Every year you'll be one of the semifinal games, some years in a rotation that's set, but every year you're virtually guaranteed of having a matchup between a couple of top 12 teams. Certainly you'll always have a matchup of some of the most highly ranked teams in the country.
You know, Jack, and one of the things that we're really most excited about is really for the last 20 years we have not had an opportunity to get Notre Dame back in our game. And with this setup now in the college football playoff, we will have an opportunity. And I want to personally thank Jack Swarbrook and the University of Notre Dame for supporting us as we've been trying to get in. Their support through all of this, and again, it goes back to that special relationship we have. Their support through all of this has really put us in this position.
And we've got a lot of folks from Dallas here today as they file in for this big game tonight between Notre Dame and Arizona State. Talk a little bit about it. I mean, obviously it's about football, but bowl games are about much more than that. And I know the Cotton Bowl does a lot for North Texas. Talk about some of the things you're involved in, what you do with some of these proceeds.
Yeah, the bowl games are really about, we try to make the bowl games about the teams, but it really is about economic development too. And that's why Notre Dame has been so good to us over the years. They bring so many fans. Their fans are so passionate. They come and enjoy every aspect of the bowl experience, whether it's the bands and the pageantry and the pep rallies and the game. And so we're obviously very proud of what we have done over our 77-year history, and look for, really the best years are ahead of us now in the college football playoff.
Well, many of my friends who are former players like Reggie have nothing but good things to say about the great experiences that they had here in the Cotton Bowl, and I do think that in the very near future, another Cotton Bowl is probably in Notre Dame's future, and I think that's good for both sides.
Well, we hope so too. We'd sign you up today if we could.
Rick, thank you very much.
Great.
Thanks
Jack,
for coming by.
Reggie, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, we'll celebrate a landmark Notre Dame football 100th anniversary. We'll have a chat with a Dallas native who played a key role in Notre Dame winning its 9th national championship 40 years ago. And Reggie will break down the spread option. And we're talking food here.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the event that a building evacuation becomes necessary, please follow these designated routes. For the upper concourse, please follow the exit signage to the nearest illuminated exit sign stairway, ramp, or staircase to the main concourse. For Star, Ring of Honor, Silver Level, and Silver Level suites, please follow the exit signage to the nearest illuminated exit sign stairway. All wheelchair-accessible seating patrons should exit your seating area and proceed to the ramp exit door located across from these designated suites. South Star Level Suite 619, North Star Level Suite 302-1, South Ring of Honor Suite 530, North Ring of Honor Suite 576, South Silver Suite 428, and North Silver Suite 472. All guests on the mezzanine level should follow the exit signs indicating stairways to the main concourse. Hall of Fame patrons should follow exit signage to the nearest stairway to the main concourse. On the main concourse, please follow exit signage to the nearest plaza or suite entry exit. Wheelchair accessible exit ramps are located across from suites 208, 227, and 248. For event-level patrons in the 100 seating level, proceed to the upper portals to exit to the main concourse. Follow the exit signage to the nearest stairwell or ramp. Please note that all wheelchair-accessible seating in the 100 level will require an assistance team for an emergency exit. Elevators should never be used in the event of an emergency evacuation of the building. Thank you.
The most important aspect of what I take away from this place, took away, and continue to take away, really revolves around the people, revolves around whether it be the guy who graduated last year that I taught and coached at Moeller High School, or whether it be the guys that I went to school with here, or everyone in between. It's a special place, not because of football or basketball or even the academics for that matter. It's a special place because of the people.
The importance of helping others is one of the things Notre Dame has always taught all of its students. Head football coach Brian Kelly and his wife Pocky teach this by example with their Kelly Cares Foundation.
Our foundation and our family is a football family. And if you have seen our pin, this is our pink version for the ladies, but the initial one has a Kelly green with some gold in the back, and it has the 4 clover leaves, and it has a design of football, stop and start plays on there. When we brought it all together, we thought of the things that we wanted to cover were helping the community, our passion for education, and then the focus on health, because had I not been proactive, my story would have been considerably different. So our other clover talks about faith and family and that strength and these gifts that God's given us. But as far as our accomplishments, we've been able to help 7 to 8 schools, K through 12. We've been able to help 4 different colleges. We made an initial $250,000 pledge to Notre Dame, and in that donation, we wanted a third to go to the library development, the Harper Research, Cancer Research, and then our community center, which is the Robinson Community Center here in South Bend. We've been able to help St. Joe Regional Medical Foundation here, the Memorial Hospital Foundation as well, Boys and Girls Club of America. We've redone some of their rooms. So we're thrilled to be making these impacts.
I think everybody understands the need to continue to fight aggressively towards cancer, particularly breast cancer. This is a battle that we face together. This is a battle that we've won twice. So we think we've been down this road before.
I really look forward to see all the things that we're going to do. I don't think it'll slow down ever, just because like I said, we're in a position to help people, and there's always that need.
For more information on how you can be part of the Kelly Cares Playbook for Hope, visit kellycarefoundation.org. All right, North Texas, please welcome to our set one of the greatest basketball players in history, period. NBA champion, Hall of Famer David Robinson. David, thanks for stopping by our little shindig here.
No, this is great. I'm very excited. It's a great venue.
You look really good in that sweatshirt.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's been fun becoming a part of the Notre Dame family. When I was at Navy, we used to always play against Notre Dame, but now watching my son out here, I'm so proud of him. It's been fantastic.
And Reggie, I know you're really impressed with the way Corey's playing right now.
Well, I watched him coming out of high school, and over the spring he came in early, and I think that really helped him in terms of his development and that acclimation period that you have of starting classes and going to practice, working out. And the thing that really stuck out to me about Corey is his ability to track the ball in the air and attack at his highest point. At 6'4", 6'5", he's a big, good-sized kid. but he's aggressive. His aggressiveness to the ball is what sets him apart from a lot of the other receivers that we have on the team.
And he's got great hands. I mean, that's the first thing people started to say. Yeah. He catches everything that's near him.
His hands are actually bigger than mine, if you believe that. But he's, you know, back in high school, I just told him, just go do what you do best, because he was kind of late to the game, sort of like me. And I said, just go catch the ball. Just if you're going to do anything, just go catch it. And he's become very, very good at that.
You know, I talked with him like a week after he got on campus, and I was so impressed with his maturity and the way he carries himself. And even in practice, when some of the things that happen to freshmen, he doesn't react. He just gets up and he goes and does his job. Did you teach him that? Did he just mature on his own?
I wish I could say I taught him that. He's a very, very fun kid. I mean, I don't think you could have a better kid than him. I mean, he's always been extremely responsible. He's the kind of kid who makes up his bed in the morning. You know, my other kids, I'm chasing around, telling them to do stuff. And he's really been great. And I knew that he would do well here because he's such a focused, laser-focused, hardworking kid. And so I don't ever worry about him. I think he's going to be okay whatever he does.
Reggie, talk a little about the challenges a freshman faces at Notre Dame and how you think Corey is dealing with them.
Well, a lot of it, I mean, when I came in, we didn't get here until August. I mean, now these kids are allowed to come in June, a little sooner. But, he came in January. And the thing that really, stuck out to me again was his ability to lock in and focus on the little things. Coach Holtz was very adamant about doing the little things the right way, and that transposes into your everyday life. The ability to focus and, making your bed. Oh, everybody's like, well, okay, that's not a big deal. It's the little things. Those little precise points in your life that you focus in and lock in. And that's not common for a freshman. When you come in as a freshman, you're still trying to figure out, you're transitioning to another level of athletics, but also academically. Because there's a difference between high school academics and college academics. And to be able to transition both athletically and academically is very difficult if you're not focused, if you don't have that drive and that passion to do things the right way. Because at Notre Dame, you have to go to class, you have to do things every day, and it's a grind. And these kids are under a lot more pressure now because they have so much more demands on their time. And if you develop time management at an early age, and it's obvious that Corey has, and a lot of our student athletes, particularly our football team, have had to develop that time management. And that's the biggest thing, because in college, it's, you can learn, it's about growing up, it's about maturing and developing your course in life. And if you can kind of have an idea of what you want to do, you're better off. But if you can develop those time management skills, that goes a long way. It's not so much the book smarts as it is the ability to manage your time and mature and develop and enjoy that overall experience as a college athlete.
And that's funny, because he was trying to complain about it becoming difficult recently, and I had to give him my walk uphill both ways story about being at the Naval Academy and all the challenges we faced there. But, he said it's tough. He said, Dad, honestly, it is very tough. But like I said, I mean, I think it's, you get to play in a great place like this. We played in Michigan with 115,000. I told him, I said, with the opportunity you have, it's worth sucking it up and just running forward, So he's working hard. He's enjoying it.
And, of course, you've been on campus a lot.
Yeah.
And you have found your way to more than a few Notre Dame basketball practices as well, to the point I think they're trying to adopt you. I know you've got some Notre Dame basketball gear, and you're enjoying watching that Notre Dame team play. So they're in the ACC, the men's team is. What are you thinking about how they're going to do in that league?
Yeah, that's a tough league. Every night it's going to be a tough game for them. But they have talent, and they've done very, very well in the Big East, and I've watched them over the last couple of years. And the next hurdle for them is doing well in the NCAA tournament. And they've really got to take that next step. And I think they have the talent to do it. It's just, it's a matter of those guys learning and getting better. So this is a great challenge for them. I'm excited to watch them this year. I think they're going to be good.
David, I know you played in San Antonio, but you're obviously loved all over Texas. As soon as we mentioned your name, look at this big crowd that has formed around our set to cheer one of the greatest American basketball players, two-time gold medalist as well. It's a delight talking with you, and I know we're going to see you a lot. So
well, I'm going to try to get out as much as I can. Thanks.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
because I know you're going to miss the USC game.
Love having you around campus.
We will continue live from AT&T Stadium with our Shamrock Series pregame show right after this short timeout.
This is my city. My grandfather worked in the factories here. My parents met and fell in love here. They taught in the city's schools, while the factories closed and the jobs disappeared. I grew up with the knowledge that behind the facade of empty buildings was a spark of innovation that made this city great. I've always been proud of South Bend's past, but I'm even more proud to be part of its future.
Andrew Wyand is a member of Enfocus, a fellowship program in which graduates of Notre Dame's Masters in Entrepreneurship work to create new ventures and improve existing systems for the city of South Bend and local businesses.
The goal of the Enfocus program is to capitalize on the student body here at Notre Dame and to bring an entrepreneurial spirit and cutting-edge technology skills to the real-world problems that we have in the community.
In their first year of operation, the Enfocus team has helped save the South Bend community an estimated $3.2 million through innovative initiatives with local healthcare providers, as well as the city's schools and fire department.
In the case of the fire department, we were able to analyze their operations and discover that they could save over $1 million by deploying SUVs rather than fire trucks for the large amount of non-emergency calls that they receive.
These entrepreneurs are solving real-world problems, they're saving taxpayer money, and their energy is contagious. The city needs allies, and we're very glad that we have an ally in Notre Dame.
It's been unbelievable to be an active part of real change in my hometown. But what's more exciting is that the Enfocus model that we've developed here can be applied to other hard-hit cities all over the country.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for my hometown.
We are Fighting Irish.
There is a place where hockey still thrives in its natural habitat, where players can hunt their prey under open skies, where fans can howl to assert dominance over their rivals. A place called Frozen Fenway. Venture into the great outdoors for 2 fierce nights and 2 untamed doubleheaders. Frozen Fenway. It's hockey in the wild.
The Notre Dame experience is absolutely amazing. I mean, the type of integrity and character that they instill in you as you're here as a young man and young woman is absolutely incredible. And to this day, I still have friends from Notre Dame, and we talk about how good of people come out of this place.
It is a year of important anniversaries at Notre Dame. 100 years ago, in 1913, Notre Dame laid the foundation to become the independent national football power that they remain today. Under the direction of head coach Jesse Harper, Notre Dame's first athletic director, the Irish left the Midwest region for the first time, finishing the season with 4 straight road games. First, Notre Dame made headlines by upsetting Army at West Point, then winning at Penn State, Christian Brothers in St. Louis, and wrapping up that undefeated season with a 30-7 win over Texas in Austin. That was also the year a couple of guys by the name of Newt Rockne and Gus Doré popularized the forward pass. Here's a closer look and celebration of that historic 1913 season.
The year is 1913. On the banks of Lake Erie, 2 Notre Dame football players spend the summer working as lifeguards at Cedar Point Amusement Park in Sandusky, Ohio. Newt Rockne 25 years old, left end and senior captain of the team, and Gus DeRay, a 155-pound, fleet-footed All-American quarterback. Motivated by their new head coach, Jesse Harper, Rockne and DeRay spend their spare time in the sand, perfecting a seldom-used technique, the forward pass. They work on timing, running precise patterns, releasing the ball at the perfect moment, and hitting the receiver in stride, a strategy rarely seen in the early days of college football. Just months later, Notre Dame would showcase this new offensive attack against Army, the perennial power of the East. The 35-13 upset of Army stunned the college football world, popularized the forward pass, and launched Notre Dame onto the national scene. 100 years later, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of Knute Rockne and Gus DeRay traveled back to Cedar Point to reenact that historic summer. A summer that changed the way college football was played.
It's like two families that have come together over a common ground. It's just absolutely an amazing experience for us.
When you think about what my grandfather did, to think that, yeah, the next generation of Rocknes and DeRays are coming together and doing the same thing that my grandfather and Gus DeRay did, you know, is really unbelievable.
The Rockne Heritage Fund supports student athletes across all varsity sports. For more information, log on to und.com/Rockne Heritage Fund.
Third down. Clements coming out, there's a pass, and he's got his man. Robin Weber, number 91, a sophomore from Dallas, Texas.
Give Tommy Clements all the credit in the world. We said at the very top of the show, he was a young man who was not afraid to throw. That his favorite receiver was Demily. He proved.
Why are we talking about the Sugar Bowl in Texas? Well, that play you just saw was the play in the 1973 Sugar Bowl that wrapped up Notre Dame's 9th consensus national championship with a victory over Alabama. And the guy who made it happen then, backup tight end Robin Weber, is a Dallas native who still lives in Dallas today and joins us here now on our little shindig set here in AT&T Stadium. When the play came on, you've probably seen it a million times. Big smile broke out in your face.
I've seen it a million times.
Does it still, I mean, does it still feel as fun as it did at the time? Probably feels more fun now because I bet you were nervous.
Absolutely. There's a lot of nuance that you didn't see in the video. But there were three things that really stood out in that play. The size of the guy's eyes as I ran at him, unchecked off the line of scrimmage. Ara Parsegian's face when I came off the sidelines, and Dave Casper picking me up and me having to tell him, put me down when I got back to the huddle. So, yes, it was quite a unique experience.
Well, kind of talk about, I didn't know you were a sophomore at the time. You know,
Only a sophomore.
Yeah,
true 19-year-old sophomore, yes.
So how is that, transitioning from, Dallas, Texas to South Bend, Indiana? You go through your freshman year, and now you're a sophomore, and you're in the biggest game on the biggest stage in your career, and you're put in that position. I mean, what's going through your mind?
Well, fortunately, Ara was really good at judging talent and knew how to work you into the mix. So first 4 or 5 games, I didn't do anything, including up until the second half of the Southern Cal game, and then he just threw me in the mix in the second half. We opened up the second half of the Southern Cal game, which we had to win. And we ran just a 2 tight end offense. This poor split end didn't see another down. So, and of course, my first play ever was Eric Pennick's run around my end and Art Best end. And so I'm going, this is easy. 80-yard touchdown. And of course, we went on to win the game. And then we started running a lot of 2 tight end offense after that, and then into the Sugar Bowl for the national championship game, which is how I got into the mix, to be quite frank.
And this is what really surprises me, because this was the last game of the year. You talk about Eric Pennett's run against USC, really the two marquee wins that year, the upset of USC, if there can be an upset in Notre Dame Stadium, and then the game in the Sugar Bowl. But I still can't believe to this day that that pass at the end of the Sugar Bowl was the first time Tommy Clements ever threw you a pass, not only in a game, but even in practice. He had never thrown to you before.
That is correct. I was a second-team tight end, so we really owe everything to a guy by the name of Frank Alaco. I caught a lot of balls from him, and I tell him that every time we see him at a reunion. So I never had the opportunity to catch a ball from Tommy, but he, as you can see in the video, he'd never thrown to me before, and he led me just perfectly. Although I did have to take a stutter step, and come under it a little bit, but that's a true testament to how good Tom Clements was as a quarterback at Notre Dame, one of the best ever.
You know, you two guys now have a special, special bond, more than just being football monogram winners. And Reggie, rather than have me tell it, you have a contact lens story. Would you care to tell it?
No, I wouldn't care to tell it, but I will. You know, I was my senior year, going into my senior year, we had a pretty good run. And during practice, I never wore my contact lenses because they really irritated my eyes. So I didn't wear them in practice, but I would wear them in the game. And no one knew about this, and apparently Coach Host didn't know about it either. I took a little ribbing from him not too long ago, the Michigan State game. He comes in and see me. No one ever threw me. He would never throw me the ball. I was never even a part of the progression, if you will. And you know, but in the games, I wore my contacts. So I get into the game. We're going to play Penn State.
Snow Bowl.
Snow Bowl. This is last time we're going to play them for quite some time. And, you know, we ran our two-point conversion to score the touchdown to Jerome, a little leak pass that we always practice a two-point conversion for every game. We use that for the touchdown. And Coach Host kind of came up with, decided, hey, we're going to go for it. And he kind of created a play on the fly from the sideline. And, you know, we go out and run the play, and it was geared to go toward the left side. You know, we had 3 receivers to the left, and Jerome was split out to the right, and, you know, a tight end on the right side. And I was basically the decoy to try to pull the safety and the linebacker away.
No intention of throwing you the ball.
No, I wasn't even in the progression. I was just kind of filler, if you will. I was just an extra receiver that can get out there and hopefully do something. And, you know, Aaron Taylor still to this day says that he's the reason that I had that famous play of catching the two-point conversion against Penn State, because he missed his block and he forced Rick to go right instead of left. And, you know, he threw the ball up there and you just had to make a play.
Now, for years, this has been the contact lens story for Notre Dame, to the point that Reggie has sometimes threatened me about telling it again. But now we have another, maybe even more interesting contact lens story that I just found about yesterday, and it involves that great catch in the Sugar Bowl. Robin.
Well, it does. I mentioned that to you yesterday, just as a
and you're never going to tell me another story no one else knows
probably
again.
not.
No.
And you introduced it on the stage, but it is an interesting story because we probably wouldn't have a national championship ring right now if I hadn't done what I had done. But at any rate, to make a long story short, I had big contact lenses just like Reggie, and they were very irritating. I wore them back from the practice the day before the game and wrapped them in paper towels because I had lost my contact lens case, and put them on the counter in the hotel room. Well, I came back the morning of the game from breakfast, and they were gone. And the maid had cleaned the room, and I went, oh, my goodness, where are my lenses? I think she threw them away. So I went out and talked to her about that.
Well, you weren't even going to try to find them. You
no, I wasn't.
They're not going to throw me the ball.
I said, where are they? Are they still? I was hoping they were still in the bin. And she goes, no, I dumped it down the chute. And we were on the 13th or 14th floor of the Marriott. And so I went, well, you know, I really don't need to go do this. All I do is block. I said, but, you know, just, you know, Casper gets hurt, and, you know, you're just one play away from being in the game. So I said, I better go look for him. So I went down to the basement, and I tell you, when Moses saw the river open, or the ocean open, I saw the same thing. It's like there they were at the bottom of the bin. So I went dumpster diving for my contact lenses, recovered them, and wore them to the game, because if I hadn't had those in, I was basically blind. I would have whiffed it. It would have been all over with, and I would probably be the governor of Alabama right now.
So you saved Notre Dame's national championship in a dumpster.
There you go.
All right.
It can be said that way.
Robin, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Robin, native of Dallas, still running a commercial real estate business here in North Texas. Now, most Notre Dame fans have a favorite moment that they like to talk about. Some might cite Robin's play, but Notre Dame's quest for excellence extends beyond gridiron glory, as you'll see in this next story.
Before the stadium fills with fans and the band starts to play, Notre Dame student athletes have made the community their classroom by taking part in courses offered by the Center for Social Concerns. Each of the past 3 summers, nearly every member of the football team has participated in this service learning experience. The goal is to fulfill the university's mission of educating the whole person and cultivating concern for the common good. The result is truly life-changing.
You can talk about this kind of stuff, service and in the community all you want, but when you actually go out and do it, you actually see like how certain things that you learned in class relate. It stretches you as an individual and causes you to grow a whole lot, especially being out of your comfort zone, because these kids have gone through so much, and you really see like the fruit of putting your time and efforts into the community.
It is about compassion. It is about empathy. It's about being able to stand in another's shoes and see the world as it would look to that person.
I had a little girl named Janoria. We took her to the garden where there's a wishing well. She wanted me to wish with her, and one of the wishes that she said was she wishes she could just have a friend who wasn't mean to her. At the end of the day, she was like, my wish came true. I have a friend that's not mean to me. Just seeing how happy they are when they see us, it makes me feel good about myself, and it makes me feel good about my teammates and the kind of person that my teammates are.
Folks, it has been a fun year to be around Notre Dame athletics. Last year in particular was an outstanding year for the athletic department, and here is a look at some of the highlights.
Regular season. Headed on, and that's it! It's over! Notre Dame has won the Big East Tournament title! And we go to overtime again!
The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame have won the Big East postseason championship for the first time ever!
The University of Notre Dame says goodbye to the CCHA for the championship!
And joining us now is the gentleman who runs the Notre Dame Athletic Department, University Vice President and Director of Athletics, Jack Swarbrick. And Jack, this is a very football-centric weekend, but that highlight video really brings home just how deep in talent this athletic department is in terms of successful teams.
Yeah, and it's been a great run for so many of our teams, whether measured by the Directors' Cup ranking, which was our second highest ever last year, number of teams making the NCAA tournament, the most ever, and most importantly to us, a statistic that wasn't new to us, having more teams with perfect APR scores, academic progress rate scores in the NCAA than any other university.
And you became the first school in history to be ranked #1 in the college football polls and #1 in the APR. And when you see guys like Reggie Brooks, who's now part of your staff, come back and excel, that's really what this is about. It's about success 10, 20, 30 years down the road in addition to this season.
Yeah, it is. The greatest pride that we have in this program is when we see what the people who have come through it, all of our 26 sports, what they achieve in life. And we have remarkable business leaders and doctors and lawyers and priests and teachers who are making a difference in the world.
We talked about the 100-year anniversary of that fabled 1913 season, and this Shamrock series really fits into a scheduling philosophy that was born that year.
Yeah, absolutely, very much. Remarkable decision by a remarkable man, Jesse Harper, to become the first school in the country to schedule nationally. And it was part of his vision that was so right in so many ways, introducing the forward pass as we know it today, playing the game differently. But it changed the trajectory of the university, changed the awareness of Notre Dame. And ever since that day, we've been committed to that philosophy. And you can look at every year since 1913, and you'll find games that take us across the country and increasingly around the world. And that's what we want to use football for at Notre Dame, to promote the university, to bring Notre Dame to places, not just the football team.
And when you look out at this sea of people watching us here as we do this pregame show, you were a big part of the committee that developed the playoff system that will be instituted next year. And the first title game is going to be right here in this building. Are you thinking ahead at all? I know you've got so many duties this weekend about what this is going to be like for a national championship situation.
Oh, very much so. You know, the 12 of us worked so hard for so long to come up with the playoff formula and make the decision about where the first one would be. Dallas is going to be a spectacular host. This venue obviously will be great. We'll start the process now of picking the next two, so you don't have much time to sit back and relax. But it's going to be great for college football, and I can't think of a better place to kick it off than this venue.
I know you joked at the luncheon, you're not in town all that much. You travel a lot, but whenever you're in town, you're at practices, including football practice. You and Coach Kelly talk a lot. Just give us your take right now, because obviously you always want to be undefeated, but progress continues to be made in this program. So just give us a little take that you have right now on the football program and the progress that it's making.
Yeah, I mean, we played, lost 2 games to very good teams, and in both games we were clearly in a position where we could have won them, even after we spotted Oklahoma 14 points. And that sort of defines this team. They have remarkable resolve. They never take a play off. They never take a practice off. And, you'd never do everything right, everything that you'd like to do. But as long as you've got that, that's the intangible you can't work without. And if you've got that, you're going to be okay. And this team has that in abundance. It is very focused. It works very hard. And its hard work will be rewarded.
You also engineered Notre Dame's entry into the Atlantic Coast Conference, which includes a football relationship, which will include not only 5 games a year, but access to a terrific package of bowl games. Talk about how you anticipate that transition happening, a transition that's already underway.
Well, it is underway, and we couldn't be more pleased with everything about it. Our partners in the ACC have been so welcoming. It's not easy to integrate one team, one school, and they've had to do it with 3 this year, all at once. And they have been so accommodating and so generous, and it's worked out really well for our teams. On the football side, the scheduling complexities are legend. And we've needed everybody to show some flexibility, and across the board, the ACC has shown the greatest flexibility in trying to help us solve those future football schedules.
All right, you run this athletic department, but when this game kicks off, you don't have a lot of control over what happens in the next 4 quarters. What is it like for you when you're in the booth just watching the game? Is it stressful at all for you?
Oh, it's extremely stressful, but one of the things that amazed me most about having this job is I now view the game very differently than I used to. While I still care very much about whether we win or lose, I tend to watch the game in terms of the results for the individuals that I've gotten to know so well, the student athletes. And so we'll have a victory that'll be great for the team, but if a player's gotten hurt, it'll take away a lot of the joy of victory. And so for me, it's increasingly about the individual journey, the individual successes, sometimes the failures, and that's what tends to get me so emotional during these games.
Let's go big picture. What are you anticipating for this athletic department over the next 3 or 4 years? What are the next big steps for it to take?
Well, a lot of it is maintaining the excellence we've achieved. We have soccer teams who are both rated number 2 in the country right now. We have a women's basketball team that's been at every Final Four in recent memory. We got one of the best hockey programs in the country. Football team, as you said, first ever to be number 1 in the BCS and number 1 in the graduation success rate. So building on that, sustaining that is job number 1. The other thing we're really focused on is what you touched on earlier. So we've started a number of programs designed to make sure that we're preparing the kids for the next 40 years as well as we are for these 4 years. And so we now have a uniquely focused career services program that realizes student athletes have different requirements. And we're working real hard to connect our student athletes with people like Reggie, who have succeeded in that role and can be mentors to them as they move forward.
Jack, I know that one of the busiest times for you at a weekend like this is right before the game, so thank you so much for spending some time with us.
My pleasure, and go Irish.
All right, Jack Swarbrick, the Director of Athletics, Vice President of the university. Well, Irish Nation, it's another chance for you to participate. This time, we want to know which of the 4 Shamrock Series games was your favorite. So all you have to do is tweet your message to hashtag Shamrock Texas, and we'll give you the results a little bit later. There are your numbers. This is actually our text question. Standard text messages apply. Text your answer to 37607. That's 37607. Text 2009 for San Antonio. Text 2010 for New York. Text 2011 for Washington, D.C. And text 2012 for Chicago. Again, standard text message rates apply. I know which one was my favorite. They've all been great, but I won't try to slant the results here. Folks, in just a moment, we're going to enter one of my favorite realms. It's not really competition, but it's one of my favorite realms of activity, and that's eating. Everything's big here in Texas. So is the pregame and during the game food available here in AT&T Stadium. And we'll visit with some of the guys that put this food together for all the fans that come into this incredible building right after this timeout.
Sudden cardiac arrest kills 1 American every 2 minutes. It doesn't have to happen. CPR just got easier. When a beating heart stops, every second counts.
Call 911. Get this heart.
Whether help is on the way
Full arrest.
or just a few steps away, it's up to you to know. CPR has changed. It's hands-only CPR. Continuous chest compressions. That's it. No excuses. It's no excuses CPR.
No excuses.
That's it. Hands-only CPR.
No excuses.
No excuses.
That's it. No excuses.
Continuous chest compressions save lives. It's no excuses CPR.
The world needs a university that educates men and women who accept their responsibility to serve others. We will strive to build a community where education, inquiry, and faith combine to respond to the demands of justice. This is our goal. Let no one ever say that we dreamed too small.
Was a stickler on making sure that whatever university I wanted to go to had to be top-notch in terms of the educational experience. So once that was a check mark, then the other parts of it was on the football field. And would I have an opportunity to play? What type of system would it be? And would I get the exposure that I wanted to receive? And all of those were huge check marks, especially the exposure part.
You know, fans, Texas is known for big. Everything is big here in Texas. Behind me, of course, are some of the world's largest LED screens. When you come in here and you watch them, you say, wow. So can we assume that the food suit here in AT&T Stadium is big as well? And by big, we don't just mean big, but big in flavor. Well, to answer that question, we are joined by AT&T Stadium executive chef Orazio Lamanna and a couple of his compatriots. You're going to take us through some food that's not just available in the suites, but it's available to any fan here at the concession stands.
Absolutely, Jack. We welcome all of the big Notre Dame fans and the Arizona State fans here to the stadium. You're going to find the best food in all country right here at the AT&T Stadium. We take a lot of pride, Jack, in what we do here in the building. Just, you know, taking this pastrami sandwich, for instance. I mean, we cure this pastrami in-house for 20 days. It goes into our smoker, and it gets finished right in that smoker. And this is available on the south side and also the north side on the main plazas. So this is an awesome sandwich served on the pretzel bread with sauerkraut and Swiss cheese. It's just an amazing sandwich. So a lot of things that fans need to know about AT&T Stadium and legends here. Everything is fresh. Got a couple of great chefs with us. We feature 2 celebrity chefs every game, including tonight. We've got Chef Jeremy right here from the stadium, and also Chef Churchill, who's our sushi extraordinaire.
Yes, this is our Super 16 burger, monster burger for a monster appetite. It's a 16-ounce burger, and we got our famous bent buckle barbecue on here, pepper jack, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and our in-house kettle chips. We serve it 5 locations, Upper Concourse, 412, 442, on the main level 202 and 227, and on the mezzanine level as well.
Let's see what you
We
got
have
here.
maki sushi, salmon avocado, California, spiced tuna, and nigiri. Also, you can mix them together. You can get in like Legends and the other one?
Main North.
The main one, yeah.
Well, is this for me?
Yeah.
Did you do all this for me?
He did all for you, Reg.
Hey,
So now
Absolutely.
all the chefs are here. Which one do you think you like the best, or would you like sample all of them?
I think I'm going to have to sample them all. I would not be a fair host if I did not sample all the fare here.
You can go ahead, start wherever you want. But I'll tell you, you're never going to get another sushi platter like this. Or that's a 1-pound burger with all of the chopped brisket, which is smoked in-house, and the barbecue sauce and the lettuce, tomato, and the bun. That's over a 2-pound burger right there.
Wow.
That's a family-sized
Being
burger.
an Oklahoma guy, I'm going to have to start with the burger.
You got to do it.
You got to do it with the burger.
All right, well, I guess I've got to carry this now. Chefs, all of you, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And folks, if you're getting hungry, you can go to the concession stands right now.
Right on.
Reggie's already eaten, so while Reggie eats and enjoys, maybe he'll save some for me. That's going to be the end of our cooking segment, but we do want to show you a little bit of what it's been like for the Shamrock Series travel for the Fighting Irish.
Stanford Cardinal.
West Coast kid.
Well, we just showed you a little bit of the food that you can partake in inside the stadium, but I bet there is some pretty interesting chow outside the stadium as well. The weather's held down. The tailgate a little bit here today, but the conditions are still pretty nice outside. So let's take you outside to Ryan Camden, who's about to give us a little taste of tailgating Texas style.
Sandwich. Of course, it was a little chilly out there today. I don't know if you brought a little of that Midwestern weather with you, but that didn't stop fans from flooding the tailgate lots and the parking lots, and there was plenty of good food and fun to be had all around. Of course, this is the second event here in Texas, the Notre Dame and the Shamrock series, and the Irish Texans were plenty of out there to be had, and man, they packed the lots. Of course, football, tailgating, all of that great stuff. Hamburgers, brats. I met a lot of great fans, and of course, it's about 1,000 miles there from Phoenix, 1,000 miles from South Bend, and Jack, fans from really both programs have packed this, and they're filling up the stands pretty quick.
And Ryan, before we let you go there, we may have lost Ryan, but behind him were those very unique suites here. They are field level suites. They're actually below the field here at AT&T Stadium, and with the big TV screens, even if the team's standing in front of you, you can still get a great view down there. So we're going to be back with more of the Shamrock Series pregame show right after we take this timeout.
Tonight's Shamrock Series game is being played beneath one of the largest video boards in the world. It would take 3,252-inch flat screen monitors to match the mammoth size of this gigantic screen. For Irish fans here in North Texas, it's an awesome sight. But if you're a Notre Dame fan watching at home, how can you get this same mind-blowing video experience during the game? Just follow these simple steps and you can simulate the Shamrock Series big screen experience right in the comforts of your own home. First, measure the diagonal length of your television in centimeters. Then, take that number and multiply it by the pixel aspect ratio of the screen, divided by the total area and feet of the room you're sitting. Take the inverse tangent of that number and calculate the theoretical eye limit for your own personal vision by adding 2.6 degrees for every half inch off the average vertical scan cycle of the screen. Adjust the camera image plane 36 degrees vertically if you have 20/20 vision. Then, calculate the precise viewing distance by taking the linear average of screen size multiplied by the eye limit divided by image plane and convert that number to square feet. Place your left eye exactly at the intersection of the precise viewing distance and the screen's elemental image, and presto! It's the Shamrock Series video experience right in your own home. Now you can sit back, enjoy the game, and go Irish!
Every kid here remembers that day. It's the day their lives changed. That day for me happened when I was 10 years old. My father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Because of his radiation treatment, he was secluded to his room, which meant no hugs, no kisses goodnight. The fear of growing up without your dad is overwhelming. While I know that sharing my experience can help, these kids need more than that. They need solutions.
Prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in American men.
What happens next?
Through the creation of vaccines harvested from tumors, University of Notre Dame professor Mark Succo is working to improve prostate cancer treatment.
Although most cancers are complex mixtures of cells and molecules, many treatments aim at only a single target. By using a patient's own tumor and creating a vaccine, we have developed a method that provides the immune system with much more comprehensive information to attack the cancer.
Professor Succo's innovative, targeted approach is so important because it could transform how we treat prostate cancer and save hundreds of thousands of lives.
On the final day here at Camp Kesem, all the campers and counselors light a small candle. We call it a wish. All the wishes are placed into small boats, and we put them in the water. I'm lucky because I don't have to wish for my dad's recovery. He's alive and healthy today. And I hope that through the research of Professor Succo, kids everywhere can be just as lucky.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting to cure prostate cancer.
We are the Fighting Irish.
I think it's the best combination of football and academics you can get. It's going to set you up the best for the future, and that's really why I came here.
I really do think it's a combination of the great athletics plus the great academics and just like the people. I think the people is probably the major thing though, is the undergrads here and the professors and the faculty are just so willing to help, and everyone's it's like a big family, and that's I think what really makes it a special atmosphere.
All that Notre Dame encompasses, along with having that family atmosphere and that family culture here,
is ultimately why I chose to come to Notre Dame.
Reese in the shotgun. Here's the snap. Reese stands in. He lets a long ball fly. Receivers out there. Caught by Notre Dame. Fighting down the sideline. Still working. It's still working. Officials there. Touchdown Notre Dame. Deveris Daniels. 82 yards to break the tie.
Even though the Irish have lost a couple of times this season, they have given their fans plenty to smile about as this young team continues to develop into a more consistent squad each game. Here's a look at the highlights of the 2013 season so far. The Irish began the 2013 season against Temple with a big play. On the first snap of the season, running back Amir Carlisle touched the ball in a game for the first time in his Notre Dame career and raced down the left sideline for a 45-yard gain. 2 plays later, Tommy Reese hooked up with Deveris Daniels for a 32-yard touchdown.
Down the middle of the end zone for the touchdown.
Notre Dame went on to win the opener 28-6. The following week, the Irish took on the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor in front of a crowd of more than 115,000 fans. Michigan jumped out to a 10-0 lead, but the Irish answered with 10 straight points of their own, getting on the board on a 4-yard touchdown pass to T.J. Jones and tying the game on a 44-yard field goal by Kyle Brinza. Stephon Tuitt's end zone interception again pulled the Irish to within 7 in the fourth quarter.
Touchdown Notre Dame!
The Wolverines answered with a touchdown drive to hand the Irish their first regular season loss in 13 games. The Irish bounced back the next week at Purdue.
Here's McDaniel. He's in, standing up.
The Irish defense forces a punt, and Reese wastes no time, finding Daniels for an 82-yard touchdown and Notre Dame's first lead of the night. On Purdue's next possession, Captain Bennett Jackson picks off a Rob Henry pass as Notre Dame beats Purdue 31-24. The Irish returned home the next week to take on their third Big Ten opponent of the month. T.J. Jones makes a terrific catch in the back of the end zone to give the Irish a 10-7 lead. With the score tied at 10 in the third quarter, Matthias Farley picked off a pass thrown by Michigan State wide receiver R.J. Shelton. That helped set up Cam McDaniel's perfectly blocked 7-yard touchdown run to make the score 17-10. Early miscues put Notre Dame in a deep 14-0 hole against Oklahoma, but the Irish fought their way back with their best ground attack of the season. Tarian Folston with a career-long 36-yard run to the 3 puts the Irish in position for their first score of the game. The Irish trail 21-7 early in the third quarter when George Atkinson III breaks free for an 80-yard touchdown run. But Notre Dame could get no closer as Oklahoma goes on to win 35-21. And as we come back here on the Shamrock Series pregame show, we take a look at Notre Dame's stats so far this season. It's a team that's been making progress, but they haven't been consistent all year. And I know one of the things Reggie, the coach Kelly, really wants to do is to establish that running attack, and they did last week against Oklahoma. Their best output as a team, especially George Atkinson, who changed his running style the last couple of games and had a career-high 148 yards against Oklahoma.
Well, and that's the thing that George has got to do. He has to do a better job of getting behind his pads, and I know Coach Alford has really been preaching that with him. He's a big-sized kid, about 6'2", 220, and when he gets behind his pads with his speed, he can really get after it.
Right, we're in North Texas, and I think this crowd might come over the walls here of our set if we didn't mention a young name from Capel, Cam McDaniel.
I love this kid. I love his demeanor. I love his running style. He's aggressive. He has a great body lean about him when he runs the football, gets those tough yards. The thing that epitomizes Cam is when he got his helmet knocked off and was bleeding, and for the coach to call a timeout so you get back in the game, that tells you the significance of this young man to this football team.
And this defense has also been playing better than people are giving them credit for. One thing missing, though, is they haven't been forcing turnovers.
Well, the biggest thing with our defense is tackle the football. We were one of the best tackling football teams last year, and to this year we've really struggled, tackling the football, and that's an area where we've got to improve, and we're definitely capable of doing it. And all that is just zeroing in on the little things and doing the little things the right way on a more consistent basis. And that's when the turnovers come. When you're tackling the football and getting guys around the football, swarming the football, then guys are ripping out, but you secure the tackle first, and that's something that has to be paramount for this team.
All right, Reggie, don't go away. We're going to break down this game a little bit more in depth coming up in just a bit, but we also would like to welcome all the folks here who are watching us right now on Watch ND. In fact, I know folks are watching all around the world because I've gotten some messages already from some of our big fans over in Ireland. Now, Watch ND is your video and audio home for all things Notre Dame athletics. No one comes close when covering every Fighting Irish student, athlete, team, and event. From the best stories to exciting live coverage, Watch ND offers a lot of free content for every Notre Dame fan. Student Athlete of the Week profiles the best and brightest Notre Dame student athlete each and every Wednesday. Fighting Irish Extra recaps the top action from the prior weekend every Monday. It's your fix for Irish athletics. Notre Dame is the newest member of the Atlantic Coast Conference. The Irish in the ACC series chronicles every step and every game of the new ACC era. Irish Connection gives you ultimate access to Notre Dame athletics. This season, Icon provides fans with an exclusive look at head coach Brian Kelly's team. Every week, Watch ND is jam-packed with high-quality live and on-demand action. From soccer to swimming to softball, you can go in-depth with your favorite Fighting Irish team on Watch ND, brought to you by Fighting Irish Digital Media. And a quick programming note for our Watch ND viewers. Tonight you can join Chuck Freeby filling in for me as I head back to the Notre Dame campus, and my partner, Notre Dame All-American tailback Reggie Brooks, as they break down today's big-time showdown on the official Notre Dame football postgame radio show, which you can listen to worldwide on Watch ND. Now tomorrow, the 7th-ranked Irish hockey team kick off their 2013 campaign with an exhibition against Guelph. You can also watch that live on Watch ND. The puck drops at 5:05 Eastern, 4:05 Central Time. And for those of you with an iPad, like the one I'm holding right here in my hand, and whenever you hold something up, it goes away. But there you go. It's called the ND, the Watch ND app. It will pop up here. That's UND.com. That is the ND app. The Notre Dame Athletics app with the 2013 Football Interactive Yearbook is a must-have. Get to know every single player, every opponent, and every Irish football tradition. There is so much great content to be discovered within this app. You're really selling yourself short if you don't have the Watch ND app. Search Notre Dame Athletics in the iTunes App Store. Now we're going to show you some of the features of the Notre Dame app. You can size up every single opponent with a full interactive schedule. The Go Irish Folio refreshes every week with a ton of stats and information to give an in-depth look at that week's opponent. If you need a closer look at the team's uniforms, full high-definition 360 panos are also available, and you can learn more about your favorite student athletes inside and out, like what state they hail from. Go inside Notre Dame Stadium with a stunning collaborative tour of the facility. Learn more about famous football teams from past lore. Then go navigate campus landmarks like the football locker room and the Goog. The interactive yearbook and Go Irish Weekly Primer is all Irish all the time, so search Notre Dame Athletics in the iTunes Store. So we will be back with much more of our show, including a look at this matchup. Tonight's matchup is not the first time that these two programs have met on the football field. The histories of these two schools' football programs also have a common thread. We'll explain all these details and preview tonight's contest right after this timeout.
It's not necessarily the storytelling, football every Saturday, the Basilica, the touchdown Jesus shot. It is that. Notre Dame will always be that, but it's also so much more.
Here's what's up this week on Watch ND.
Tonight's matchup should prove to be entertaining, as have the previous matchups between these two teams. That first matchup took place in 1998 in Sun Devil Stadium, site of Notre Dame's 1989 National Championship Fiesta Bowl victory. The Irish took a 7-0 first quarter lead in that game when Jarius Jackson fouled Malcolm Johnson for a 7-yard score. Then in quarter number 2, the defense put points on the board when Johnny Sanders picked off a pass and reached 25 yards to pay dirt, and a 14-0 Notre Dame lead. The Irish went on to win this contest by the score of 28-9. The Sun Devils visited Notre Dame Stadium for the first time in 1999. Early in the second quarter, the Irish score first when Jackson finds Bobby Brown with a 42-yard touchdown pass. Now, as he did the previous year, Johnny Sanders follows with an interception for a 28-yard touchdown, and the Irish lead 14-0. In the third quarter, Jackson would score a touchdown of his own on a 48-yard run to give the Irish a 34-0 lead. Jackson rushed for 93 yards and a score in the game while throwing for 223 yards and 4 more touchdowns to lead the Irish to a 48-7 win. So far, as you can see in a moment, the stats from this series, it's somewhat lopsided in favor of Notre Dame in just about every category. There's a key category right there. Arizona State's turned the ball over so far 8 times. Notre Dame has not turned the ball over. Notre Dame's undefeated under Brian Kelly, 12-0 when the team has not turned the ball over. He's been saying that all week, so I guess we don't turn the ball over, then good things will happen, certainly. We were talking about a connection between these two programs. There's an important common thread between Notre Dame and Arizona State. Hall of Fame coach Dan Devine. Devine began his college head coaching career at Arizona State in 1957. During his 3 seasons as the Sun Devils head man, he guided Arizona State to an outstanding 27-3-1 record, including a perfect 10-0 mark in 1959 before moving on to Missouri. Devine arrived at Notre Dame in 1975, and over the next 6 seasons, he guided the Irish to a sparkling 53-16-1 mark, including the 1977 National Championship. Devine was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame in 1985, and a statue in his honor now stands outside of Gate A at Notre Dame Stadium, now known forevermore as the Dan Devine Gate. Now, tonight's game looks like it will be a very good matchup and a tough matchup for both teams. Reggie, now let's take a look at the matchups in this contest, and let's start with the Notre Dame offense against the Arizona State defense.
Well, you got to start with our offense. We have to run the ball. We have to get some points, and we have to start quickly. That's going to be critical, and we cannot turn the ball over because this is a very explosive Arizona State offense, and they really can put some points on the board quickly. So we really need to be able to control their defensive line up front and force them to bring pressure so we can actually get some one-on-one matchups on the outside. If we can do that, we'll have a good chance, but it's really going to start with that offensive line. How effectively can we get them blocked up front? Because Arizona State's defensive line, very good, very active, and does a great job getting after the quarterback.
Now let's flip it over and take a look at the Notre Dame defense facing an Arizona State offense that put 62 points on USC last weekend.
They look very fast. I really think that they're going to come out and try to turn this into a track meet, and that's something we cannot not allow to happen. We're going to have to get more pressure on the quarterback with 4 and 5 guys. We cannot be caught where we're having to use linebackers and defensive backs to rush to get some contact on their quarterback. We're going to have to, again, stop the run is always paramount, but it really comes back to tackling the football, not allowing them to get those extra yards after the catch.
All right, Reggie, what are your keys to the game?
Our offense has to start fast. If we can get off to a fast start offensively, it's going to bode well for our team, and that takes a lot of the pressure off our defense. And again, as Coach Kelly said, we cannot turn the ball over, and we need to force some turnovers. That's going to be a critical aspect, and then getting off the field on third down. These are some areas that we've got to do a better job of overall for this team to be successful, and we can't allow this to turn into a track meet.
And certainly limiting the explosive plays as well, part of getting off the field on third down.
Exactly. If we don't allow them to get those explosive plays on third down, first and second down too, but forcing them into long yardage situations is going to be critical to get our offense back on the field to where we have a chance to put some points on the board, but keeping their offense minimal and containing those fast and explosive receivers.
All right, Reggie, always a pleasure. You don't have to go back and watch the tape. We had a graphic of you with hair. You're going to like that photo a lot. That will do it for the Notre Dame Shamrock Series pregame show live from AT&T Stadium here in North Texas. Our stream will go off the air on Watch ND right now, but we will continue to entertain all of you here in the stadium on the giant screens right here at AT&T Stadium, including complete coverage of much of the warm-up going on behind us right now. And don't forget, you can watch this game live on your local NBC station or anywhere in the world on NBCSports.com. For Reggie Brooks, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Irish.